Fairy, and welcome to part 3 of this Madoka cosplay work log. Wow, look at that lighting. So I know I've been doing voiceovers for this series, but I got some work done yesterday at a friend's house and I wasn't able to film it, so I thought it would be a little bit easier to just kind of talk you through it in person instead of trying to do a voiceover. So yesterday I went to my friend Mallory's house and I cranked out a pair of gloves for Madoka. They're not quite done yet, but I figured I would kind of explain how I did them. So these gloves are made from a two-way stretch knit that I just kind of had laying around. I don't know what it is. It's not spandex, it's just a two-way knit. It's kind of nice and thick, which I liked. So what I did is I folded the fabric in half and I spread out my hand like this, and I traced around it, put a couple pins, and then I sewed about 1/4 of an inch away from my traced line. To sew it, I just used a basic straight stitch, and I didn't like stretch the fabric or anything when I was sewing it. I just left it flat and sewed 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch away from my traced line. Once I did that, I tried on the gloves, and a couple spots were a little bit too big, which is way better than having them be too small, so I went ahead and took them in so that they fit, and I was left with some nice fitting gloves that I then flipped inside out so that the seams were hidden. So this is what it looks like on this one. Is like 1% shorter than the other one I made at the wrist, but like it doesn't matter. Madoka's gloves also have scallops around the bottom edge, and I started working on those last night and I didn't record it because I wasn't sure if it's going to work, or I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But I think it's gonna work out, so I'm gonna explain to you guys how I did that too. So this is the other glove, and this is what the scallops look like right now. They're just pinned on. So the first thing I did was I took some interfacing and I laid my glove on top of it and just kind of like sketched out a rough shape of the petal. I also took a measurement around my wrist. My wrists are 7 inches, so I made the scallops 1 inch wide, and there are 7 of them. So basically, on my interfacing, I think I'm going to be able to show you guys this when I do it for my next glove, but I kind of traced around 7 of them, cut them out in a line, and interfaced the fabric, and then I stitched the scallops. I'll show you how I do that more in depth, because they look really good and they aren't puckering, and I'm really happy with them. Then I flipped them inside out, top stitched them, and now they're pinned to the edge of my glove. Alright, so it has definitely been a little while since I last filmed for you guys. It's been about 5 seconds since you saw footage, but for me, I literally don't remember the last time I filmed something for this. So I'm sorry that like my beautiful, like well shot, no talking videos were like compromised by me not actually doing that. But stuff has been not great lately. My fish is very, very sick and like he's probably gonna die pretty soon. I thought he was gonna die last night, but he made it through the night. But anyway, I just wanted to really quick come on here and catch you guys up on what I've been doing. So currently while I'm filming this, it is like 5 days to Amki. It is Sunday before Amki, so I am screaming. This is pretty much my last full day to work, and I have a lot to do, and I'm feeling really overwhelmed, but I think I can push through and finish it. The mommy in my group actually had something for marching band come up, so she's not going to be able to make it, so I think I'm the only one that's actually still planning on bringing this costume to Amki. So like if I don't finish this, I'm not going to look like as much of an asshole as I was going to before, because we had a group of 4 that was going to be doing this. I'm not showing you my face because I look really gross today, but that is beside the point. So I'm just going to quickly go through and show you guys what I have right now. So the bodice is just about finished. If you see this little rectangle up here, this is actually a panel that's gonna go over these hook and eyes. It's gonna snap on because there is some gapping. When I put it on, you can kind of like see the hooks and eyes, and I just want to cover that. But otherwise, besides that, the bodice is done. And then what I've been working on for the past, oh my god, it feels like forever, but it's been about a week. I actually redid the petty, and you guys will probably not be able to tell like any difference. I posted pictures on my main Instagram of what it looks like now. I actually went back and shortened it 3 inches. For me it was way too long. I was very unhappy with it, and I just finished sewing all 11 layers back onto the yoke last night, which took so long, but my petticoat is finally done. I'm finally happy with it. I did find that when I was redoing it, I found it easier to like hem all these edges while I was putting it on the yoke instead of doing it after like I did last time. Now all the edges are like nicely finished instead of looking scraggly. So I have that. I have, let's see, this is still my only glove progress. I just have the petals stitched on here, and then the other one has none, if you can see it like right there. Last night I made this choker. It's very simple. So what I did is for the actual like band part right here, I measured my neck and I added an inch. I wear 14-inch chokers, so I made it 15 inches long, and it's 1 inch wide, so when I cut it out I made it 1.5 inches wide. But actually when I cut it out on the fold, so just so you guys know. And then I went ahead and I sewed that seam, flipped it inside out, top stitched around the whole thing. As you can see, my bobbin thread was white, but that doesn't matter. I rolled the seam to the inside, if you can see, so there's like no weird seams. And then this little bow guy, this is a 4-inch by 2-inch rectangle, and then I stitched it. It's 2 rectangles. I am so inarticulate today, I'm very, very sorry. But this is 2 2-inch by 4-inch rectangles that I stitched together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, flipped inside out, top stitch, and then this middle part is bias tape. So today I'm going to attach this bow to the band, and then I'm going to use a snap in the back so that it makes, you know, I just stabbed this through my skin, but it'll make a choker and the bow goes in the back and it'll be great. If you're wondering what kind of fabric this is, I'm so sorry that it's not focusing on this. This is a cotton shirting that I used for my Ib costume like 3 years ago, and I just kind of had it in my stash. It's like a maroon. It's showing up more bright red in my viewfinder right now, but yeah. And then it's like buried in the pile back there, but I do have the white skirt cut out to go over the petticoat. I am going to have to add fabric to it because it's not as tightly gathered as I want, and because my petty is so floofy, the bottom of the skirt is like too small to fit around the bottom of the petty. I can show you guys what I mean at some other point, because right now I'm really hungry and I want to go eat after I film this. But I got an extra yard of fabric, so I'm gonna sew that in. add ruffles to that at the bottom, and then try to figure out where to go from there. I'm gonna have to go ahead and shorten that too because I cut it for the old petty when it was too long, and that's like the whole thing why I wanted to shorten the petticoat. So what I have left to do is I have to finish the white skirt. I have to make the like pink petally overskirt still, which like, oh, I have to finish that choker, I have to finish the gloves, I have to finish styling the wig, which is up there. I don't know if I showed you guys the process of the bows. This is how they turned out. I'm actually really, really hecking happy with how these came out. They're so cute. So this is one of the ones that's gonna go right here on the skirt. So basically, like, I cut out a rectangle, interfaced it, put another rectangle on top, sewed around, top stitched, and then this bottom bit is literally a rectangle with like points on it. And then in the back I just kind of like gathered them and then hand sewed this little bit to the middle. And for the ones that are on the wig, I just attached little duckbill clips. Sorry, I'm digging in here. But they look like this, so they can go like that and clip into the wig. I also technically have to add petals to the top of the socks, but I'm not super concerned about that. Like, if I don't get to that, I'm not gonna kill myself over it. I also wanted to add a lot of extra details with this costume, but I think that's gonna have to wait until after the con. Alright, so this is what I have made for the white outer skirt. So I just put my petty onto my dress form, and I kind of measured out how long I want this to be. I'm going to be cutting this down to about 19.5 inches to allow for seam allowance at the top. So roughly 19 inches after the seam allowance is taken out for the waistband and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to take this fabric. It's not the same fabric, but it has the same weight, the same texture. I couldn't find this. This is a peach skin that I got like over a year ago for my peach costume, and I just had it left over. So this looks very similar. It has the same weight, so I'm going to use this to make the skirt bigger so that it fits more nicely around this huge petty. If you guys can see, this thing is like gigantic. I love it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down and sew more onto the sides. Just to quickly explain how this skirt is made, it's literally just a rectangle. So this length is, I think it's like about 2.5 times my waist measurement roughly. I'm going to be adding more to that. And then the width is the length that I want. And then I don't remember how wide these ruffles are, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, and then right here I had to attach more, so I just did a really quick French seam that has not been pressed. But yeah, I'm going to cut this down like I said and then attach that. Okay, so I'm finally a lot more happy with how this outer guy is looking. This is just the petty and the white skirt. So with this, I'm actually going to go ahead and line it, despite the fact that I did French seams, if you can see. I originally wasn't planning on lining this, but I do want to, just to get the silhouette that I am interested in. So what I'm gonna do is I bought like a really crappy cheap, like really thin cotton. It's just white, so I'm going to make a circle skirt out of that and then attach it to the inside of this skirt. I'm not going to be showing that just because I've shown a pretty decent amount of circle skirt footage in this work log, so it's literally just the same process, and then I'm going to sew it right side to right side and flip it inside out, and then we will have a lined skirt. Alright, so the lining is attached to the outer fabric, and I'm literally taking a bunch of tulle and stuffing the skirt, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew the top closed and make a waistband. Alright, so here's the shape that we're left with. I can't even begin to tell you guys how happy I am with the shape of this skirt. It looks like a giant cupcake. I love it. So literally, like I said, all I did was I stuffed this with tulle and I had some netting. It could be a little bit more stuffed, but I did want to make sure that there were still wrinkles in it. Maybe one day I'll go back and add some more. But for now, like I said, I did stitch the tops together so that the gathers wouldn't move anywhere. But we are done with this white skirt for now. So I think I'm gonna get some dinner because I've been working all day. And I really want to try to do the pink overskirt tonight, which I am dreading, but I really want to try to get it done today. Okay, so I just drafted the pattern for the Petal skirt that goes over the white one, and I kind of skipped over actually showing you guys how I did this just because it was pretty touch and go and I didn't really know what I was doing. But I started off drafting a 3/4 circle skirt pattern, and then it took a lot of math, and I'm not going to super go into it. This is really wrinkly, so I hope you can see, but I ended up with this. So I drafted it with 2 petals, and this is, I think, 12 inches long, so that there's still space here. I cut out 4 of these, and they didn't quite lay right, so what I did is I cut it, so I just had 1 petal, and then I kind of evened it out, made it look nice, and then I cut out 8 individual petals, with about, I don't have the one with the markings on it, but I left about a 1/2 inch of seam allowance all the way around. And if you can see, they're just pinned together a little bit at the top, so they just barely overlap, and then they lay pretty nicely on the skirt. I do wish that they were together a little bit further down, but if I do that, I think they're going to be buckling a little bit, so I think I'm going to leave it like this and go ahead and cut into my pink fabric. Okay, so because of some fun footage loss, I am refilming this bit again. So what happened is I didn't finish filming everything for my original work log because I was in con crunch mode, and I refilmed this section like last spring sometime, and I don't know what happened to that footage, so it is now January of 2019, and I am going to finish up this work log and kind of let you guys know how I finished this off. So after that last clip you just saw, I went ahead and attached bias tape around the edges here. I did mitered corners kind of poorly because I'd never done them before on non-90 degree corners. So that just means that both of the sides are finished here. And then I went around and I added these rhinestones. They're literally just hot glued on. And then I threw a waistband on. This is just the skirt and the petty on a hanger here in my closet. Look, wow, things. So that's that. And then after Amki, I went ahead and I did some embellishment on this costume. So I added some Swarovski crystals. These are the hair bows. But I added Swarovskis and some chains and stuff on these guys. And I also did some beading on the top and other Swarovskis. I really decked out this costume. So I have a lot of pictures of it up on my Instagram and my Facebook page. So if you guys want to see what this costume looks like now after it's been pretty like heavily decked out, you can check that out. So yeah, that is it for this work log. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me while I was editing this and all that. And I hope you enjoyed it and learned something, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!